Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's webcast, Content That Converts. I'm Dean Seddon, founder of Maverick, and we are going to kickstart this session in a couple of minutes. You are going to need a notepad. We're going to do a lot on the whiteboard, and hopefully the camera can pull it in. If you need a replay of tonight's session, you can email us at the emails on screen somewhere here. Drop us an email and say, hey, can I have the replay link? Excuse me. That's not what you think it is, by the way. We'll also, I'll reference some resources tonight that you can get for free. And of course, if you need some help implementing this stuff, drop a line to us and the Maverick team will jump on a call, walk you through what I've spoke about tonight and show you how we can help. So just as people are joining, I'm going to put my notepad down because I got my notes for tonight's session. Tonight's session is all about priming and content. Now I'm going to explain what priming is because it will help you understand how to write content that will actually engage your audience and engage them to see the need to buy your product or service. So I'm not going to teach you just a little thing that you can implement in one day. I'm going to teach you something that will give you the ideas for content that will help you generate business on an ongoing basis. That's what we're going to go through tonight. And priming is a method that we use to sell, to market, and it's a hybrid method that works on any industry or any type of content that you're trying to do, where it's trying to convince a customer that they need you or convince a prospect that they need you. So grab your notepads and pen. The chat is working tonight. So if you want to say hello in the chat, it's popping up on my screen here. So do say hello in the chat where you're joining us from. Let's keep this interactive. So if I say something, you go, can you go over that again, Dean? We'll put it in the chat. Jack is monitoring the feed, as is, I think, Terry's on the feed tonight as well. So they will flag questions to me as we go, but we're doing this live and the chat's working. So say hello from where you are. There's 60 people watching on YouTube so far. There's some people on LinkedIn. There's some people on Facebook, and do the honors and do the thumbs up, the follow, the subscribe, all that stuff will be great. So I'm going to get started, and it looks like we're all good to go. Everybody's joined us on the different platforms. So just a quick intro so that you know who this weird bald guy is who's joining you on your social feeds or YouTube. I'm the founder of Maverick. Maverick started in 2014 as a solo person consultancy on business growth, revenue, developing sales, all of that kind of stuff, but using a different way that wasn't aggressive and that didn't burn leads. And we founded the business in 2014, very early stage. It was a consultancy business, and it's grown and grown and grown. And now there's about 45 people work for Maverick, helping customers, training, providing support to people to help them grow their revenue, their margin, and their profit. And that's what we're about. Okay, so we're going to get started. So I want to introduce you to a concept called priming. Priming. And I'm going to explain it. I'm going to explain how it works and how you can use it for your benefit in your content. So priming is a hybrid strategy between sales and marketing. Very often, priming, marketing and sales are kind of carved up. They're two different departments, and they don't really collaborate that well in a lot of companies. Not all of them, but in a lot of companies, they don't collaborate that well. Priming is a crossover, and it can feel uncomfortable for sales and it can feel uncomfortable for marketing because it forces the two areas, the two disciplines to work together. So when we're talking about priming, what we're doing is preparing prospects so that they see their need. And I'm going to explain this in a moment in two different ways and how those two things correlate together. And then we'll look at some practical applications about how you can implement priming. Just before I do that, I'm going to flick to a slide to just explain why priming works. So this graph, this chart you will have seen before, no doubt. I'll put it on the big screen for you so you can see it. So this chart or this diagram helps you simply understand how a customer reaches a decision to buy. It's not a buying journey with your company. It's how a customer goes from where they are right now to deciding or seeing that they need a product or service. Your primary goal in priming is to convince people and show people that they need you. So this model here that I'm sharing, the sales journey, problem, outcome, decision, and solution, is their process of how they get to the point where they know they need you and they make a commitment to buy something from somebody. So I'll just explain this, because when you get to priming, then you can start to understand how ultimately what you really want with your content, whether it be social posts, blogs, videos, is to leave people believing that you are the best choice. To leave people believing that your product or service is the answer that they need. And so that's the job that our marketing and our sales has got to do. And when we do that job, we get inbound. When we do that job, we build a name and a brand for ourselves. When we do that job, we show people the value in paying and buying our products and services. If we don't prime people, we have to cajole. We have to push, and we have to drag people kicking and screaming. So priming is really much about making sure that the messaging you're using, the content you're creating, is convincing people that they need you and they need your product or service. So this diagram here is basically the journey that people take towards knowing that they need to buy something. So the first stage here is the problem-aware stage. This is where people become aware that something is not as it should be in their business, in their organization, in their lives. They realize there are problems and issues that they are unhappy with. So that could be that their profitability isn't where it is. It could be that their website traffic isn't where it is. It could be that their technology isn't where it is. There will be scenarios and examples that your customers will have, and it's worth doing some research on this, of scenarios that typical customers that you have gone through before they found your service. And all customers, all prospects have this light bulb moment almost where they go, why does this keep happening? Why can't we seem to do this? Why is this problem? Almost like a point of frustration. Point number one, pain is a very powerful way to capture the attention of your prospects. If you use pain, balanced and realistic, it's a really powerful way to engage a prospect and hold their attention. So if you're not getting the quality of attention from your prospects, you need to more deeply understand the pains and challenges that they have in their business that you know your product and service can fix. Now I'll come to this content piece in a moment. Outcome. This is where the prospect becomes aware that they could achieve something better. They start to see how they've got this issue and this is what they really want. So it's almost the opposite of the pain. What's the outcome they want? What's the result they want? What's life minus pain plus the opportunity? Then they go, okay, I now understand, I'm aware of a problem. I'm aware that we could have a better way of doing this. I'm aware that there should be, we shouldn't have this pain, we should have something else. And they've started to understand and define what that something else should be. Now they start to go on the decision to change journey. And this is where they start to explore the internet, research and study and fact find to understand how they can get from the pain and the problem to the outcome. In this stage, the customer has not decided on the method of how they are going to change. So up to this point, up to this stage, they have no qualms about exploring any opportunity that will get them from pain to outcome. They will look and research. And at the end of that process, they will decide on the way they feel is best to solve that problem. So, example, I'm a business owner, my website's not working very well, I'm not getting leads, all that kind of stuff. I want more leads from my website, I want more inquiries coming on my website, I want more traffic on my website, problem, outcome. Okay, I'm going to go to Google, I'm going to research, I'm going to go to some webinars, I'm going to do all this stuff to figure out how can I get more leads on my website. At the end of that process, I've probably studied Facebook ads, I've probably looked at blogging, I've probably looked at SEO, I've looked at a variety of different things to find the answer. But at the end of that process, Dean makes a decision that the best outcome for me, the best way for me, the best method for me is SEO. And so now I know, or I've decided that the best route to to get my traffic up, to get rid of this low traffic and no leads, to get some leads on my website is SEO. And then I move to the next stage where I go, so how am I going to do my SEO? Who can I engage with? Who can help me? Can I do it myself? All of those things. So as you look at this process, once you get down here to the solution stage, people become very prescriptive about their solution. So, point number 2, the people at this end of the scale are people looking for 5 reasons or 5 ways SEO can help you grow your business. 5 best practice techniques for SEO. The problem with that content down there is if I rejigged this diagram, I would show you that just 3% of the market that you can serve are in this group. 90% of them are up here. 90% of your market are not thinking about SEO. They're just thinking about their problem, their outcome, and how do they fix it. Problem, the result they want, and the how do they fix it. That's all they're thinking about. And so if they come across your SEO article and it doesn't speak to the problem, the outcome, or how to fix it, they move on. But if you speak to the problem, the outcome, and how they can fix it, you get their attention. So I see this a lot in people and businesses where they write a lead magnet, they write a blog, and it appeals to the customer in the wrong place. And so they wonder why they get a lot of people reading articles, but nobody sees the need for them. It's because they're speaking to a buyer who's already crystallized their answer. They're speaking to an audience who's more prescriptive. You're just as likely to find somebody down here, talking about at the solution stage, who is a tire kicker, as you are finding somebody who's genuinely interested. And the problem down there is it's more competitive, and so it's harder to get share your value because you're being compared probably against other SEO companies or what have you. So this is the journey people go on. And for you to make a sale, for you to convince somebody to make an inquiry, for you to help people see why they need you through content, you have to prime them with the content. So what is priming? What is priming? So priming is what we use in our social selling. It's what we use in our content. It's what we use in our strategy. It's a way to grow a business through business's revenue margin and profit. And so priming is this. There's 2 components to priming. The first one is they have to be aware. Yeah, and I'll explain what they are in a minute. They have to be able to relate. And they have to believe. So you're saying, okay, aware, relate, believe, in what? In what? And I'll explain how you do this. So I'll explain exactly how you do this. Obviously, we've got a limited time. We've got about another 40 odd minutes. And I'll just say hello to a few people. So we've got a PBM Consulting evening. We've got Sergio. We've got MyFit. We've got Kieran. We've got Constance. We've got E. Huddleston, we got Abby, we got Olivia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I should have said hello earlier. Do please put your questions in the chat And if there's anything I go over and you think, Dean, can you just go over that again? I'm more than happy to do it. And I will have some question time at the end. So we've got to get people aware. We've got to get them to relate. We've got to get them to believe us. So then I want to show you the second part of this, which is your value, your offer, and you. So what do I mean? They've got to be aware of your value. They've got to be able to relate your value to their business. And they've got to believe that your value is good for them. Number one. They've got to be able to understand and be aware of how you can help them, your offer, how you help them. They've got to relate to how your offer can help them in detail. In other words, they can see, not be told, see how it can help them. And they've got to believe, seeing something, I can see how that could work, and I can see that could work for us. I really think it could work for us, is two different things. So they have to be aware, they have to relate, and they have to believe to your offer. And finally, they have to be aware of you as a person or a business. They have to relate to you as a business, and they have to believe in you as a business. Now that might sound, well, I agree with all of that, Dean, but how do you do it? How do you do it? So let me just pick the value for a minute, because this is the clincher to most of the sales. This is the clincher to getting a higher price point. And if your content's wrong, you will appeal to people who want to commoditize you. So how do you get people to believe in your value and understand your value? Well, it actually comes back to the diagram I showed you earlier, this one on the left. And I'm going to try and do it. I wasn't a maths teacher, by the way, but I'm going to try and do it. So we had an argument in one of our accelerator groups earlier about this. X plus Y equals V. X is their destination. So make a note of this. X is the destination that people want to go on. Can you see this okay? X is the destination that people want to get to, the outcome, the result that they want to achieve. Y is where they are right now, the challenges they have in their business right now. So quick tip, go and do a big brain dump of all of the big benefits you can deliver for a customer as a result of them buying your service. That's Y. Then the X. The Y is all the things that are not working quite well, the frustrations, the challenges, what's taking longer, what's holding them back, all the negatives of them not having your service right now, the downsides of them not buying your product. Yeah? So X plus Y equals your value. In other words, the outcome you can deliver and the pain you can fix, those two together, added up in the customer's mind, not being told, added up in the customer's mind, shows them how much of value you bring. So, obviously it's not always numbers, it's not always maths, but what I'm trying to get you to think about is that if you can bring £1 million of new business to their company, let's say, and the current problem is that they're losing sales, they're losing ground, that is the value you can deliver. That's the size of the opportunity and the value for them. That's the value for them. So if you have £1 million problem, there has to be £1 million worth of value for them. And that's what they buy against. And they buy against that if they believe you. So your content has to show people, make them aware of the value you can deliver. And that's not just about throwing numbers out and pound notes out and all that stuff. It's about showing people the reality of the frustration of where they're at right now and the opportunity of where they want to be. A couple of sessions ago, I did a similar session like this, Content That Converts, and I talked about the 5 and 6 Ps. If you want a copy of that video, it talks about that the only way to really show value is not to just talk about how amazing you are and how much results you can bring, but it's to hold in tension the pains of where they are right now alongside the opportunities of what they could like. if they fix this problem, if they got rid of these pains, what could they achieve? And if you can start to write these two things down from the customer's perspective, it will give you no end of content ideas, and it will give you a real way to draw people in, because we're attracted to pains that are relevant to us. So if I see something that's relevant to me, I will read it because that's something that's affecting me. Yeah? Something I'd like to have doesn't quite help me, but something I want to get rid of gets my attention. So think about it like this. If customers had your product or service, what would they get rid of in their business? What would there be things that would no longer happen? What would be the annoying things that could disappear? Think about those. Now, when we come to writing content, and we got loads of sessions on this, we got boot camps, we got accelerator program that helps you implement this to generate leads. But when it comes to writing content, you use the two things together, because the two things together really showcases the value. So if I was talking to Dean, who's got his website not generating traffic, I'd be talking about 5 reasons why your website is not generating leads and how you can fix it. Yeah, 1, 2, pain, outcome. I look like a boxer here. Pain and outcome. You use the two things together, and the two things together shows the value. You don't have to promise unrealistic things. They have to be consistent with what you're going to deliver. So pain and outcome together. So when we're trying to convert people, when we're trying to generate a lead magnet, here's one tip. And I'm going to try and write this down. Is everybody still with me? Hopefully everybody's still with me. And it seems like PBM's on the track with me. And do you know, I always wanted to be a teacher when I was a kid. And I said to Jack tonight, I said, I'm going to do a whiteboard. I'm fulfilling my fantasy of being a school teacher. But hopefully I'm a bit more interesting and a bit more helpful than most school teachers. There's no diss in school teachers. It's just a lot of things I learnt in school haven't really applied. Anyway, they should teach copywriting skills and some basic sales skills and communication skills in schools. I'm all for that. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to show you the difference between using pain and outcome together versus what most people are doing is talking to this group over here. Yeah? So I'm going to use SEO and the pain of SEO. So I'll do the solution one first. So the first one I've done is SEO secrets that can max your traffic. So why is this more solution centric? Because I'm talking about the solution in the front line. So if the customer's like, I'm not sure what's going on here, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here, and I'm not sure why, but I want more traffic, but I don't know what the answer is, I've immediately loaded the title with people who are looking for SEO. So what can I learn from it? Number one, I can learn people are looking for SEO. So if they're not looking for SEO, they may not be interested. But I've attached it to an outcome. So from this title, I can learn that SEO, they're interested in SEO, and they want an outcome. So that's not bad as a title for this group of people. But for the other groups here, it's probably not as relevant. Probably not as relevant. So if I look now to go, okay, how do I appeal to all of the people, but particularly the people down here where they're not sure of the answer, and I can draw them in, educate them with me, prime them with me, and priming is just consistently sharing messages about pain and outcome so they're aware of you, they can relate to you, and they can believe in you. Just one thing about this. And this is a really shallow thought, but it's very true. if you're consistently messaging or consistently producing content about particular topics and themes, if you're consistently getting it in front of people through social blogs, videos, all that stuff, just by doing it consistently, people will start to believe in you. People will start to trust in you. This is why a lot of political campaigns, and I'm not going to go on politics because I don't think it's relevant, but the strategy behind most political campaigns is to land one clear message and get it to stick. And if you land one clear message and get it to stick, people will choose you over somebody else. The key thing is picking that message that will stick and resonate. So in the UK, we've had lots of elections where some people have used one strapline with no substance versus other people have put detailed policy, but their message didn't stick. And this is where a lot of people come unstuck with converting content. And this is in some ways, it's quite sad to say this, that actually sometimes the message that sticks might have less substance, but it performs better than the substance. So some of you techies and thought leaders out there might want to unpack big thoughts, but to actually sell more stuff, you have to do it in a way where the message sticks. Otherwise, you could have the most amazing white paper, the most amazing blog, but it could capture the wrong people, and it could capture people, and people could move on past because it doesn't stick. And so what happens is you're not remembered. So just to build belief, it's about repetition and getting one or two key messages to stick. So what should those key messages be? Well, it's quite simple. The message you want to stick is, if you've got these particular problems, we know how to fix it. If you've got these particular problems and you want to fix it, we're it. That's it. If you do that, that's how most of the big brands, most of the big businesses have modeled growing their business. That's why some companies, like for an example, Apple and Coca-Cola and all these big brands, they could probably stop spending any money on marketing for about 2 to 3 years, and they'd see very little drop in their revenue because they've done such a good job in making sure the market knows they exist and what they're known for. Now, in your scenario, I'm not asking you to influence millions of people. You only need to get in front of the right few people consistently. If you need to make 100 sales or 200 sales in the next 12 months, say, you only need to influence, maybe 1,000 people. That's so straightforward and easy to do across social channels. But the key is, it's not just about doing it once, it's about doing it consistently. And we call it priming because you're repeating a message, a consistent message, and putting it in front of people that's about their pains and outcomes. And so they pay attention and they associate the solution to their pain and the route to their outcome with you. And so you become the expert in their world. You might not be the expert to the whole world, but in the world that you're trying to target, you become the expert. Because you are making sure that your market, whether that's 200 people, 500 people, 5,000 or 5 million, may know that you are known for fixing that problem and getting people to that outcome. And that works whether you're an enterprise sales or you're selling £1 million thing or a £100 thing. It's the same thing. That's why companies invest in this, because in the long run, if you do this, it makes the phone inbound ring. It gets the emails coming in. So I do have a worksheet that I can share with you about how to find these pains and outcomes. And I think we've got a little video for it. It's only about a 10-minute video to explain it. So if anybody wants that, I think the email's down here somewhere. Let me have a look. There. Drop us an email and say, Dean said you'll send the worksheet and the video, and tomorrow we'll send you the worksheet on understanding how to do it. So this is SEO secrets that can make your max your traffic. Yeah. So I've just put that one together there. one or two, so PBM's just, is that one message per post or 1-2 message over all posts? It's 1 or 2 messages over all posts. So the theme, think of it like a theme. The key message is, if you've got these problems and you want this outcome, we're the people. That's the broad message. And then you start to define the problems and outcomes, and they become the key messages held together. So, and you can put that consistently across all channels. Some channels, I would also say, from a management of time and ROI point of view, if you're going to implement this across social media, pick one channel and go all in on it. Put every effort into it. Yes, distribute the content elsewhere, but make one channel work first. You cannot afford to split your time or add more variables because the platforms are different. So you try and make one size fits all for very different platforms. So obviously you'll know my main profile, my main platform is LinkedIn. So a lot of what I do, I apply for LinkedIn, but it actually works in all the different places. It's just slightly different for each platform, but the priming concept stands. So yes, Ely's asked for the worksheet. Just send us an email. Please don't put your email in the chat because we can't get that tomorrow very easily. Drop us an email and say worksheet and video, please send, and we'll send it to you tomorrow. So this is the title for the solution-centric people. So let's have a look at one that's pain and outcome-centric. So why your website is not generating leads, and it's a bit long, but how to fix it. Right, so this is a bit long. I'm improvising the title because I used the example before. But why your website is not generating leads and how to fix it. So who does this appeal to? So it appeals firstly to somebody with a problem. And secondly, it appeals to somebody who wants to fix it. Who do you think you'd have a better job selling to? These people, if you do this article and explain to them, help them understand how and why their website isn't generating leads, and then you give them how or why or a method that they can fix it. Not the step-by-step instructions, but a method, a process of what they need to do, high level, to fix it. You will get more interested parties from this than you will from this, because you immediately narrow people to a specific solution, whereas the vast majority of your market haven't even decided on a solution. So we've got somebody here who's got a problem and wants to fix it, and they're reading this article. By them clicking and reading this post, you can infer, whether this is a lead magnet with an email download, you can infer that somebody downloading this is either very, very curious about you, which is a good thing, or very, very curious about the problem and outcome. And so you're immediately identifying somebody's downloading this who has a need. This one doesn't tell you anything about their need. It tells you that they're curious about SEO and they want an opportunity, but it doesn't tell you about their need. And there's a difference between a need and a want. Want, need. Does that make sense for everybody? What else could you say? You could actually do it slightly different, Rachel. Rachel said, what else could you say besides repeating how you can fix it? You could actually say 4 reasons why your website's not generating any leads. You don't have to put the outcome, because the thing is the need. So if they want leads and it's not generating, they want leads not generating. So the other one is you can use the word without. Now, just another resource here, and again, I'll point down here to the email. We actually have a headlines template sheet. We've collated loads of different templates that show how you can find need in the titles and structures of articles and content. So if you want that, just email us. It's called the headlines template. We'll send you a copy. Again, it's all free, so that you can understand, oh, I can see how I can put this together now. This will help you understand this person has a need. So imagine this. Imagine I make a lead magnet. Imagine I make a PDF, and I build this PDF to explain to people why they're not getting traffic, and a very simple process, high-level process of what they need to do to fix it. So not high level enough that they can see it, but not high level enough that not detailed enough that they can actually do it step by step. And I put this together, and I put a call to action on it to say you can have a strategy call, or if you're looking to really scale it up, perhaps you're looking to get your traffic from 5,000 views a month to 20,000 views a month. Another quick tip here, when you're writing your content, so when you get into the meat of this piece of content, you can qualify people by using the scenarios and examples. So let me give you an example. I've got a customer who's looking to go from 5,000, they're getting 5,000 views on their website every month, no leads, and they sell high-level products to manufacturers around the world. What they're really looking for is to get to 20,000 leads and get 10, 15 inquiries a month, because each inquiry is worth about £15,000 to them. When I put that example in, the customer or the prospect reading it will define themselves and compare themselves to the example I put in. So if the example's relevant, i.e. they're selling £15,000 products and they want to get 25 leads a month from their website, the £15,000 product as an example and the 25 leads. Do you remember the X plus Y? I've just shown people that equation inside the post so that people go, oh, they're helping people get 25 leads at £15,000. So it immediately helps people frame. I'm not saying that, you know, just examples. I'm not saying you have to put real stories or make up stories. I'm just giving examples you can put in to content. When you put, they're looking to get 20, you know, as an example, a company that sells a £15,000 product, they've been getting 5,000 views a month on their website. Their bounce rate's 80 odd %, and they're not getting any leads, and they sell a £15,000 product. What we can do is, a company like that, we can help them by building this process and show them how they can go from 5,000, get their optimization up, and get maybe 25 leads in a period of time. The customer will do that X plus Y maths in their heads and go, oh, these people help people generate hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of business. So they immediately qualify their budget against your example. And so when somebody makes an inquiry, they actually make an inquiry now realizing the value of your service. So your content is getting the attention and qualifying people at the same time. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah? You still with me, everybody? Hopefully that makes sense. So the examples you use inside the content can help qualify people so that when you put a call to action to say, if you'd like to know how we can show you get to these leads, book a call, you can actually show people, it qualifies them inside that scenario. So yeah, it's spin selling, value selling, pain selling, gap selling. There's loads of different, but priming is something you can do across all channels. So we've qualified the person where their need is established in the title. Everybody still with me? Say hello in the chat if you're still with me. Well, I'd say wave, but you can't wave. Well, maybe you can do the emoji wave. So priming is about creating that rhythm where you're consistently putting out content. Now, there's one bit that you might find uncomfortable. Well, Abby's still with me, and MyFit's still with me, so brilliant. There's one more bit that you're not going to like. Everything I'm teaching you and everything I'm sharing tonight will be theory until you implement. What do I mean by that? Well, that's common sense. Most people learn this, start it, and quit it. They don't see it through. And part of the process of priming is that you do things to actually get your message out there and learn how to tweak the messages slightly to get the attention and to get the interest and to find the need. So I encourage people, if you're on LinkedIn, you'll see me, I encourage people to post on LinkedIn every single day. I'm there every day, posting, posting, posting. And the reason I encourage people to post every day is, one, social media it's an expectation you post every day these days. If you're not posting every day, you get lost, you get left behind. But also it's so that you can learn what works. You will not learn what works by posting once every blue moon. You have to learn consistently, week on week, day by day, and you can go, that one really worked, that one sucked. How can I fix that and adjust it? And I encourage people to do this. And I want to give you one more example of how you can find the need. And I'm going to show you how you find the need in a social post or a social poll. And I'm going to show you that now. So everybody's good with this. So you, if anybody wants the titles headline sheet, just email us and we'll send it through. And I have said to the team, if anybody gets onto the webinar and they go, oh, I'd love to just pick somebody's brains for a couple of minutes, please feel free to email us, or maybe Terry will put a link in the chat. And if you go, I'd love to pick somebody's brains for a couple of minutes, no pressure or anything, they'll just get on and help you. Particularly with this next piece that I'm going to show you, they'll jump on a call, walk you through this in a bit more detail. And obviously, if you want to know more, you want to know more. But if you don't, you don't. But we'll show you this. So if you want to unpack this a little bit more, Terry will put a link in the details. Christine's put, does make sense, but are you not creating a funnel where you're losing some customers' potential as they won't feel concerned but totally by your example? Christine, what you're doing is you're not using necessarily verticals, but you are qualifying. One of the things that people try and do is they do lead magnets, get lots of leads in, but very few of them convert because the need isn't established. And so what happens is people get burnt in that process. So priming is about finding the need and nurturing the people who aren't there yet. So it may well be that this lead magnet or this piece of content you do right now is narrowing and finding the need. But as you learn, you'll learn that actually if I talk about this pain, particularly with this challenge and this outcome, actually it builds the same message, but it's more relevant. So there is a narrowing, but the narrowing is not eliminating. And so in a classic funnel or in a classic sales cycle or lead generation campaign, you get a load of names in and then you nurture them by email with more emails, more emails, more emails. But let's be honest, how many of them actually buy? It's not a lot. A lot of them, they just float round. So the nature of lead generation and marketing is that you're finding the need. The question is how you find the need. Do you eliminate, as in, do you exclude people by unsubscribing or not capturing, or do you nurture? And it's very fine line between the two. You may have seen me rant on about cold messaging and pitching people cold. One of the reasons it doesn't work, despite 72% of people saying that they're open to cold messaging and cold outreach and cold emails, despite 72% of people saying they're open to it, the success rate is 0.4%. In that journey of doing stuff like that, that means that a percentage of people eliminate themselves. In other words, they say, this is out for me. What we're trying to do is draw people in who have a need, and you position your examples around the sweet spot that you can sell to. And the reason I say this is if you're selling a £25,000 product, if you use an example that's relevant to a £25,000 spend, so for an example, I'm not saying that you have to use a manufacturing company, but let's say a company's trying to generate 25 leads and each lead is worth, each sale that they're trying to generate is worth more than £10,000. What I'm doing is I'm knocking out the people who have got a £500 sale. because I can't help them with my SEO service because my service is going to be £25,000, say. So by using an example around the value that you deliver, you knock out or you remove from the process the people who would not buy your service, the wrong people who have the same need. Because wherever you appeal to here, the beauty of this process, it has wide appeal to anybody with similar problems. But you will gain an audience of people who resonate with the problem but may not be your customer. That's okay because they give you your brand and your message legs. But when you go down to the bottom, you're still only appealing to the people who have a desire, a want, and they may have very prescriptive terms. So it may well be, as Christine was saying, do you not remove people from the process? You probably remove more people from that process at a later stage where you can't get them, or they remove you because you don't meet their criteria. So what was I going to do? I was going to show you one more thing about how this works. So let's say, for an example, I was doing a lead magnet campaign or a lead generation campaign, and I've got my PDF and I've pain point centered it. Yeah, so it's all pain and outcome focused. Now, if I put that out there and I start to promote it, I will get the people who have the need. So I'll get lots of people who have the need. So the key is to invest time, not to just jump in and go, I'm going to write something now. And we have another thing, a framework, content framework. In fact, I think I've got it in the slide deck. So let me see if I can show you. So this is the example sheet that I've got, how to generate, I'm in the way, how to generate your pain points and your outcomes and find them. But then we have, this is the headline sheet, which I'll share with you. So if you email us, we'll send this to you, and it helps you understand what pains and outcomes and titles you can use. But then this is the 5 Ps that I can share with you as well. But this is the framework I want you to think about. Now, it gets cut off at the bottom here on this screen. But when you're starting to do this campaign, the first order of business is to understand, who is this for? This is the way you should write content. First question, who is this for? What problems do they have? What's in it for them? What's in it for you? What's the next step? What do you want them to do as a result? And then, what's the killer title? Do not write the title first, because you will waffle all over the place. Go, I'm writing to business owners. They can't generate leads from their website. I'm going to give them 5 tips that will help them, or I'm going to show them why they can't. I'll come to a quote in a minute, but it's really important. So somebody give me a nudge in a minute to remind everybody of this quote, because it's really important. Then you're going to say, well, how am I going to get value for me out of this? What's the win-win for me? So am I going to put a call to action, an action to book a strategy call? Am I going to tell them? Am I going to capture their data? What am I going to do to help me? And then what's the next thing that I'm going to get them to do? So for an example, what's in it for you? It could be that you're going to get them to download something. It could be you offer them something to download. It could be that you invite them to something. And then what's the action? What do you want to tell them to do? Then you find the title. And there you can see 3 examples I put on screen. Now, one of the big sins people make is they decide on a really good article, and then they go through it, write it, not very specific to anybody, and at the bottom they just dump a call to action. If you do it in the right structure, and I'll pull this together here, pain, picture, points, proof, promise, pitch. If you do it in this order, this will get their attention, it will keep them reading, and the proof example will show people how they're doing it, how they've achieved it, and you can use a relevant example. And then the pitch is very short, because all you're going to say is, if you're interested in getting this result, getting from pain to outcome, we can help you, and this is how we can help you. So in other words, what's the step they have to take? And this is a really simple method, but it all comes down to, for you to capture leads, you have to find the customer's needs. And wants are not good enough. If you start writing about wants, there is no intent behind a want. A need has some intent behind it. So the way you use a need is to balance pain and outcome. So the concept of content and priming is to share the need prolifically, consistently, and share your content in that mix of pain and outcome. I can show you at some point in one of the future sessions, we'll do a mind map session of how you come up with content ideas. So check out our LinkedIn events and our Eventbrite events for that when we do the mind map content ideas webinar, where you can pull out all different ideas that you can share and how to build all of them and how you'll never run out of content, because you can share things in different ways. But the key thing to unlock all of this into priming is about consistent action, and it's about speaking to people at their problem and outcome stage, and you bring the light bulb moment. And this is the quote I want to kind of shut up, and then I'm going to do some Q&A. So if there's any questions, please put them in the chat. One of the biggest things people miss about content is the power of diagnosis. The power of diagnosis. In other words, some content, some of the most powerful content and most converting content you can do for your business is to actually explain to people why they have the problem in the first place, why those challenges exist in their business, why they can't sleep at night because of some of the annoyances that they've got. That's one of the biggest things that you can do. And there's a really good quote. I was away last week. Some of you joined. I did the personal branding from my hotel in Tenerife because I didn't want to miss it, and I wanted to do the last session last week. There's a really good quote from, I think it's Charles Kettering, and it's my quote of the month, or 2 months, because I found it in October and I'm running it within November. It is, if you can understand the problem, it's 50% of the solution. And what that means is the better you understand the problem, the easier it is to see the solution. You will get a lot of ARB, awareness, relationship, or aware, relate, and belief. You will get a lot of that just from helping people understand their problem better. So focus in on, how can I help people understand their problem better? If you think about it, thought leadership is helping people think about something in a more meaningful way. So if you look at some of the products and services you offer, and then go, what are the problems that some of our prospects and customers will have in their business because they need our product or service? And you start to help people explain and understand how those problems then happen and why it happens and why it's difficult to solve, and really diagnose that. You'll get a lot of credibility, you'll get a lot of reach and a lot of what I call market authority, because you're accurately describing the challenges that people have. And most people don't want to do that content. They want to do the optimistic, the outcome-centric stuff, 5 ways you can make $1 million or whatever. But they don't want to explain to people why they haven't made $1 million already, why their business has struggled, why their business... And when people understand the problem better, they become better to make decide on a solution. And because you open their eyes, you're the expert. So it's human psychology, straightforward human stuff, but it's applied to content in a way that most people don't want to do or don't know how to do or didn't think of doing. But it's actually very persuasive, very powerful, and very engaging for people who have the needs that you can fulfill. So, questions? Lee Halger, is the problem stage mainly about creating tension? It's mainly about helping people understand the problem better, but helping them internalize that problem and bring it to the fore. I'd call it agitation. So for an example, Lee, if you ask one question in a post, you get a very superficial engagement. But if you ask two questions that are pain or outcome centric together, people internalize those questions and start to answer them in their own minds. They don't obviously speak the answers out, but they do internalize the questions together and they sink in because you ask two questions together, because now you got them to stop and think. So pain is about catching them where it hurts. It's relevant, so it's more poignant. Look at our own human behavior. How many things do we want to do versus that we put off, versus how many things do we do because it hurts or it's become difficult and we can't put it off any longer? So pain is the push and outcome is the pull. And if you use push on its own, it has an effect. If you use pull on its own, it has an effect. But push and pull together are very powerful. They work really well. So MyFit strategy. So you're working car repair in Dallas. What's the most powerful? So I would choose the channel first of all. So I would choose the channel, number one. So by the look of it, you could work on, so MyFit, you could use LinkedIn and focusing on building your network and engaging your network in around Dallas. So that's the first one. So you could do that. I think for you, just because your customers will be transient in that they will have a problem at a particular time, I would focus on using a variety of content on feeds. I wouldn't go for blog posts because it's a lot of work for a transient problem. So, so I would focus on posting on LinkedIn by profile or person or company page. That's what I would do. The other thing you could do, MyFit, is if you wanted to do something around MyFit. Actually, I'll do it now. MyFit, what you could do is start to do some really what I call easy engagement loaded content. So you could do things like on Facebook, you'd do, which is your favorite car? And you could pick a BMW, an Audi, a Mercedes, or a General Motors. And so people start to engage with you and self-identify that they like European cars over American cars, and then they get to build a community around it. Now on LinkedIn, we can do something similar, what we call a loaded poll. So a loaded poll is where you ask a question, but the question is loaded so that the answers tell you about their need. So if you follow one of our team members, either Curtis or Josh or myself, you'll see we do these loaded polls. And loaded content is absolutely fine to do because it helps you find the need. So again, we teach this and support and coach people in how to do this to generate leads through content across social channels. But one of the posts that Josh does a lot is, how many sales calls have you got from LinkedIn last week? I think this is one of his. Go check out Josh Ramirez's post. And then it'll do A, none, B, 2 to 4, C, 5 plus, and D, stacked out. So this is what's a loaded poll. So if we look at this, loaded, how many sales calls did you get from LinkedIn in the last week? A, none. Do they have a need? Yeah. Not very successful. And they're on LinkedIn. So they're answering the poll on LinkedIn and they're telling us they got no leads, no sales calls. Then 2 to 4, we can follow up with them. 5+, we can follow up with them. Stacked out, we can say, that's awesome. And are they converting well? Are you getting the right people? Are you getting the right conversations going? Are they turning into deals? So literally everybody on this poll who answers, we have a way to help them with their need. Abby's just asked, would the pain and outcome value approach work to get leads in email marketing? Yes. So Abby, just bear in mind that the email subject line is what will make or break the email. So you could literally, and I've seen this done, I'm going a bit off-piste here, but I'll show you. One of the things that people do with email, which is really interesting, and I'm just going to show you, is people send emails trying to find people by telling them how wonderful they are. One of the things I've done in the past, and I've done a lot of email work, I mean, I must have done, I don't know, 1 billion emails or something in my working life on campaigns and different things I've done for clients and for Maverick and for everything else, is we do an email where the subject line equals pain and outcome, right? And then we might send them an email, we've done a blog about this, here's a link to the blog and the button, thought it might be useful to send it to you, best regards, Dean. Now, the pain and outcome will get the email open, and the brief copy, and the reason I say brief is the more you write about something before they click, the less likely they are to click. It's really mad, this, and it works in DMs too. There's almost a Goldilocks that if you say too little, they ignore you. If you say too much, they opt out. So you get the sweet spot where you keep the curiosity high, so they want to click to read what the article says. So I've created a pain and outcome subject email. In the email, it looks like a normal email written with an image in the middle and a button. And I say, I'm sharing this article. It's about the challenges X types of companies face on X, Y, or Z. It might be useful to you. I thought I'd bob it across to you. Kind regards, Dean. There's the link. So when they open it, it's because of the pain and outcome. When they click it, they've told you their need. So then all the clicks, you can follow that pain and outcome to provide them with more nurture around that. So you could go, oh, we're going to do a webinar about this pain and outcome. Would you like to come? We've got a free strategy call about it, or I've got another resource to do it. And actually you can nurture people by their need just using the opens and the clicks to get you to tell them that you've got the need. PBM, I've not seen this. One of our clients got 250,000 views and 10,000 votes. It's all about the type of poll, but I do think LinkedIn went a bit crazy with letting polls fly, and they went a bit nuts, and they seem to be rebalancing them. But if you do the poll right, you still get quite a lot of engagement. So, Constance, I would focus for yours on Facebook, and I would focus on probably ads. I did something about 5 years ago with Facebook ads, and I wrote a blog, a pain point blog, 5 Ps, 6 Ps, and I put £18,000 behind it with a lead form at the bottom. £18,000 a month. And we were getting about 50 to 60 submissions, and they were all ripe and qualified because we'd sent them a pain point blog about it. It was brilliant. It still works today. We don't do it as much. We did this for a client, but it was a pain point blog that was pushed out, and at the bottom, the people could inquire for more information. A bit like sometimes you see advertorials in magazines. You know, you see an article, and then at the bottom, there's like a little coupon page. Those work in a social media format, promoting an article that's got value and it helps people understand things a little bit more, and where they can submit some more information. Rachel, again, carousels with 5 tips and all those kind of things would work well on Instagram. Instagram loves reels. So my feed posts over the last couple of years have gone a bit crap, but my reels do quite well. So what I do is I post a pain point video reel. You check out my Instagram. I've just literally recycled my Instagram because I'd hammered it for other stuff over the years, and I'm just rebuilding it again. I've got rid of a load of stuff. But I do reels. My reels perform really well, and then I put it out as a post, and then I post it out as a story. And then I can reuse snippets of that or make stills of quotes from that and recycle them as well. PBM, no. So a poll is not about having the bigger audience. It's about having the right audience to kickstart it. One of the things, particularly about LinkedIn, is LinkedIn's algorithm works a little bit differently to other channels, where it ripples out based on the engagement you've got. So PBM, what you need is a poll that engages an audience quickly and then it gets its own momentum. So you don't need thousands of followers. The person I said got 10,000 votes had 1,300 followers, but the poll was very relevant to an audience that he was connected to. So that's the key. If you can get your audience to engage with it quickly, as in soon after it's launched, it gets its own momentum. The more complex the question, the less answers you get. So it needs to be quick, easy, simple to understand, simple to read, and simple to vote. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to give you one final thing. There's some resources I've mentioned tonight: the headline sheet, the pain point worksheet, the little video about headlines and content, the what was the other one I was going to share with you? Oh, the framework. If you want any of those resources, email us. If you want to pick somebody's brains and have a quick call with somebody, you can use the email below and say, hey, Dean offered me some time, or you can use the link. And finally, maybe you're thinking about, how do I supercharge this and get this implemented? You can join us on our accelerator program. I'm not going to give you loads of detail about it. Our accelerator program is where we help you implement this week by week, every week. So it's not just theory. We go implement it, we look at it together, you join a community of people who are all doing the same thing, launching and implementing and tweaking and getting results and moving forward in their business. So as I wrap up tonight, straight afterwards, we're going to play a video promo for it. Again, if you want to know more about that, just drop us a line. The final request. So I'm going to give you all this free stuff. Please do the thumbs up, the likes, the comments. That's how our message gets out there. It's how people know about us. So please do that. I know it takes a bit of time and you probably just want to check out. Please do go do that. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop us a line if you need any of the resources. If you want a copy of the replay, email us and we'll do that. I'll see you next week for another session. We're doing selling on LinkedIn next week, I believe. So join us, sign up, Eventbrite or LinkedIn, and we'll see you next week for selling on LinkedIn.
Past year, Maverick has helped generate more than 15 million in new business. The biggest reason for this is our 90-day training and implementation platform we call the Accelerator Program, where we teach your team to sell on social media with an implement-as-you-go strategy. It's not a pre-recorded course, it's hands-on sales training that develops and grows with you, with 90 days of real action that generates business and long-term revenue. So who is it for? This program is for entrepreneurs, marketing and sales professionals who want to sell without ads, cold calling or pushy tactics. A better way of selling with real steps to take, which speeds up your sales process without burning any bridges. These are just a few examples of results our members have achieved using the Accelerator. As you can see, the Accelerator isn't about quick wins, it's about building a better sales process. If you'd like to learn more, just book a call with the Maverick team and we'll show you how the Accelerator program